Let's be real for a second. Have you ever felt that if you're a woman of faith, making a super detailed financial plan is, I don't know, a lack of faith? That you're supposed to just trust God and take the leap? Well, today we're going to completely blow that myth out of the water. We're going to see how strategic financial planning isn't about weak faith at all. It's actually one of the highest forms of worship. Okay, let's get into it. This right here, this story just hits you in the gut because it is so incredibly real. You do everything you're supposed to do. You do the responsible thing. You save up this nest egg. You get ready to finally take that big leap of faith into your true calling. And then life happens. A family emergency, an unexpected diagnosis, and just like that, the safety net you so carefully built is just gone. It's a terrifying thought, and it's the perfect example of why we need more than just savings. And that's the absolute key right there. See, savings are just a number sitting in an account. A plan is a strategy. A plan knows that life gets messy, that things are going to go wrong, and that the universe doesn't really care about your perfectly mapped out business timeline. Having that plan isn't about having doubt. It's about building a foundation that's strong enough to handle the storms you know are on the horizon. Okay, so I know you feel it. You feel that call to do something more. You are so ready to leave that corporate job behind and launch a business that actually means something. But there are these fears, right? These little questions that pop up at 3 a.m. and keep you staring at the ceiling. And almost all of them, when you get right down to it, are about money. So let's just name them because they lose their power when we drag them out into the light. This is the big one, isn't it? The question that just makes your stomach do a backflip. But I need you to listen to me very, very closely. This question is not a faith problem. Let me say that one more time. It is not a faith problem. It is a planning question. God gave you an incredible, intelligent mind that is fully capable of doing the math. And using that mind, that's an act of wisdom, not an act of doubt. And then you've got the others, the ones we whisper. That fear of letting your family down, that is so real and so valid. That fear that maybe this is all just your ego talking. Look, ego doesn't usually stop to question itself. The fact that you're even asking that question shows your heart. And the fear of wasting all those years in corporate, that's not waste, that's leverage. Every single skill you learn there is about to become your secret weapon. So, where do we find the playbook for all this? Well, we look to the scriptures, and not just for a comforting verse, but for actual strategy. I mean, the Bible is packed with these brilliant entrepreneurs and, yeah, ancient CEOs who totally understood how faith and finance work together. Let's start with one of the most successful business women in the entire New Testament. You know, when we're reading Acts 16, it is so easy to just skim right past that little description, a dealer in purple cloth. But hold on, that's not just a cute, folksy detail about her job. That's the ancient equivalent of saying she was the CEO of a luxury brand, like the Gucci of her day. Let's break this down for a second. This purple dye, it was insanely expensive, extracted from thousands of tiny sea snails. It was literally worth more than gold. So who's her target market? Kings, royalty, the 1%. This means Lydia was running a high-end, high-margin, incredibly profitable business. And what did she do with all that profit? She opened her home, she funded the Apostle Paul's mission, and she basically created a headquarters for the early church. She had a business plan that fueled a movement. And this is where it all clicks. Lydia didn't see her business as some worldly distraction she needed to get rid of to be more spiritual. No way. Her profitable, savvy business was the very engine that funded her purpose. She is the ultimate proof that you can have a killer business plan and a passionate faith, and that one could make the other so much more powerful. And she's not the only one. Let's jump back to Genesis for a minute. Remember Joseph? God gives him this crazy dream about 7 years of crazy abundance, followed by 7 years of devastating famine. So what did Joseph do? Did he just pray and hope for the best? Nope. He operated in wisdom. He created a strategic plan to save 20% of the entire harvest during those good years. That planning, that good stewardship, it saved an entire nation. Preparation was his God-led strategy. Okay, so our ancient mentors have given us permission. Now it's time for us to do the thing that so many of us try to avoid. It's time to do the forbidden math. We're going to pull out that calculator and we're going to get brutally honest with our numbers. Because you just can't make a wise, God-led decision without knowing the facts. And don't worry, it's actually a pretty simple 3-step process. First, we're going to figure out what you really spend every single month, not what you think you spend. Second, we're going to calculate how long your savings can actually last you. We call that your runway. And third, we're going to map out a realistic timeline for how long it'll probably take to replace your current income. Easy enough, right? All right. When you're calculating your expenses, you have to put on your detective hat. You got to go way beyond just your mortgage and your groceries. I mean, add up every single subscription. Take those big annual payments like car insurance and divide them by 12. And this is a big one. Do not forget the hidden corporate costs. That 401k match you're giving up, the chunk of your health insurance your company pays, the value of your paid time off. That is real money you're going to have to replace. Okay, you got your total monthly number. Good. Now I want you to add 20% to it. Just do it. Why? Because I promise you, you forgot something. Everybody does. And because life happens. The car will break down. The water heater will explode. This buffer isn't pessimism, it's wisdom. It's your Joseph plan for the unexpected. Next up, let's talk about your runway. So, having a minimum of 6 months of your total expenses saved up, that's what you need to not completely panic. It keeps the lights on. But a recommended runway of 12 months? That's the game changer. That's what lets you build your business from a place of confidence, not desperation. And trust me, desperate energy repels clients. A longer runway lets you make good decisions instead of just fast ones. So, what's a realistic timeline to replace that corporate salary? Honestly, it's often 12 to 18 months. Just look at this progression here. Those first few months are all about building your foundation. You're not going to be making big bucks. It takes time to find clients, to get your offer right, to really start scaling. Seeing this laid out like this should be encouraging. It normalizes the journey and protects you from that panic that screams, this isn't working fast enough. So we've stared the fears in the face. We've done the forbidden math. Now it's time to bring it all home. See, this has never been about choosing between faith and strategy. The real magic, the real blessing, is in the both and. It's where your practical wisdom and your deep faith hold hands and become absolutely unstoppable. So what does this actually look like in real life? It looks like this. You pray passionately, asking God for direction and clarity on this huge decision. And you open up a spreadsheet and you create a detailed line-by-line budget. One is an act of dependence, the other is an act of diligence, and both of them are holy. It looks like trusting God completely with the outcome of your business. You let go of the results, and you do the practical, wise work of setting up your LLC to protect your family and your personal assets. Faith doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing. Faith moves forward with wisdom. It looks like absolutely believing for God's abundance and provision over your life and your business. You expect good things. And just like Joseph, you wisely and diligently save an emergency fund for those lean times that you know will come. An abundance mindset and a savings account are not enemies. They are partners in excellent stewardship. And look, if you still need permission, if there's any part of you that still feels guilty for doing all this planning, here you go. Jesus himself tells a story about counting the cost before you start building. Estimating the cost isn't fear. It's the blueprint. It's how you build something that's actually going to last. It is biblical wisdom, straight from the source. So let me just say this as plainly as I possibly can. Your detailed budget, your runway calculation, your income projections, none of that is a substitute for God. It is not a lack of faith. It's what your faith looks like when it gets to work. And that right there is the ultimate reframe. When you steward your finances, your gifts, and your time with wisdom and with excellence, you are honoring the God who gave them to you in the first place. Your spreadsheet can be a song of praise. Your business plan can be a form of prayer. Stewardship is worship. So the question was never, should I plan or should I pray? The real question is, how will you choose to worship God with both?